Okay, today I wanted to talk about a game I actually noticed when it got released a little while ago. Well, checking it, it was actually in June 2021. Jesus, time flies. Anyways, I kinda brushed it off as something that looked interesting, that I would try maybe one day, and I actually completely forgot about it. Well, I got back to it recently, and looking at the almost 40 hours of playtime I put into it in like a week, let's say I've been enjoying it quite a lot, and I figured I'll make a quick review, because if you're a S.T.A.L.K.E.R fan, this will be right up your alley. So today we're talking about Tunguska the Visitation, a top-down survival horror action shooter RPG. I think that's a good way to put it. I'll be talking about the complete package in this review, by the way, so the base game and the 2 DLCs that are available. So, you know how the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series take place around the Chernobyl disaster? Well, this game is inspired by the Tunguska event, when an asteroid blew up in the skies of eastern Siberia in the early 1900s. Yes, that's a true story, it actually happened, and it completely wiped a giant area of land. In the lore of the game, this incident created an exclusion zone, the same way we had for Chernobyl, and as a journalist, your job is to sneak in there and investigate any good stories you can find. And believe me, there are a lot of good stories to discover. The plot is very rich and actually pretty interesting. You will meet a lot of crazy people, factions waging wars between each others, weird cults, fanatics, bandits, and some regular people just trying to survive. Oh, and monsters too, of course, mutants, wild animals, and all that friendly and welcoming stuff. So yes, the game is inspired a bit by S.T.A.L.K.E.R, and you will find a lot of references and Easter eggs here and there, but the dev did actually a great job creating its own world with an interesting lore and backstory to all the NPCs and different factions. I generally don't enjoy games where you have to read a ton of dialogues and books and notes you find in the world, but here it's actually perfectly balanced and it never felt like a chore. You are actually excited to discover new clues and information, piece some stories together, and well, actually do the job of a journalist you've been sent there to do. Well, a journalist that can use a gun and strangle some motherfuckers if need be. The graphics are not amazing, but don't get me wrong, the game looks good, and I think it nails the old school Soviet aesthetic with the design of the HUDs, all the different items, the inventory. The music and sound design are great, and the atmosphere is definitely here. I love the overall eerie, alone in a weird, creepy, dangerous world vibe, exactly like in S.T.A.L.K.E.R, and to me that's the most important thing. Immersion is great, and it's all that matters. The world is somewhat open, divided in a ton of different locations that are all unique. Some of them you will have to unlock through quests, but you can generally roam and explore freely, and there's a ton of things to discover. Same with quests, there is a lot to do, from the main quest to side quests to a lot of little jobs you can do on the side. In terms of content, it's actually impressive for a small indie game, and you're not gonna get bored, let's say it like that. And on top of all that, there's the skill system to improve your character, decide what gameplay you want to have, and what to focus on to make your survival easier. The combat is fun and pretty well balanced. It's hard too, you can't go guns blazing most of the time. You will have to use cover, be smart, avoid fights you feel you cannot win, while you grind for better gear and weapons. You have the choice to go the sneak route too, if you like a more stealthy gameplay and less confrontation, but if you like blowing everything up, you have the option too. So overall, the combat is pretty tactical and challenging, and it's a pretty strong point of the game. Especially because you will have a ton of weapons, armor, type of ammo and attachments to choose from. The progression is nicely paced, and you will unlock new toys regularly to keep you excited and give you more and more different options to get rid of enemies. The AI is a bit hit or miss though, sometimes they will surprise you by how smart they outmaneuver you, sometimes they will be dumb as rocks, so it's definitely an area that could be improved, but overall the combat is very satisfying, and there is a great variety of enemies to fight with, from wild animals and mutants to much more dangerous monsters to heavily geared factions and bandits. If you like crafting, repairing stuff, cooking, farming and so on, you won't be disappointed. There is a ton of content you can engage with to make your survival easier and make you a ton of money. You can even go as far as literally farm ingredients, cook and operate a side business as a restaurant if that's your thing. But generally, you will simply focus on making serums and medicine, simple things like taking care of your gear so your gun doesn't jam on you in the middle of a fight, craft your own ammo, and things like this. But if, like me, you're a loot goblin who loves gathering everything, inventory management, crafting, disassembling stuff, and having giant stashes of everything, the game will definitely scratch that itch. You will even unlock a small train cart early on so you can fast travel and carry even more stuff with you. As a true S.T.A.L.K.E.R inspired game, you will of course have anomalies in this world to be aware of and radiation in a lot of places, forcing you to have medicine or protective gear to deal with them. There is also a special type of emissions happening in this world called Visitations, and a whole lore behind what's called the Tunguska syndrome, but I won't give too many spoilers and let you discover it by yourself. Okay, I'm getting to the end of this review and I feel there's so much I haven't talked about yet, like sitting around a campfire to listen to stories, get clues for missions or good stashes or good areas to explore, and then you take out your journal and you write down stuff to don't forget, because the game actually doesn't hold your hand and actually rewards you for listening and being curious and involved in the world. Or why picking up poop in the different toilets is very useful, or the fact that you're able to have your own home to furnish in the zone, and so much more. Overall, it's a very fun game and I had a blast so far. And I didn't mention it yet, but it's literally a single guy developing it, which makes the whole thing even more impressive. It can be a little bit rough around the edges on some aspects, but that's pretty much it. Like, I didn't encounter any game-breaking bugs or anything, and the dev is super active, releasing fixes, new contents and updates on a regular basis. There is a demo available on the website if you want to give it a quick try, and it's actually on sale right now if you're interested. I'm gonna leave all the links in the description, because if you're looking for something different to play in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R universe, you should definitely give it a try. It's a very, very good surprise. And I just realized that I talked about how I like the atmosphere and the sound design and the immersion of the game, but I didn't leave a single clip when I'm playing with the actual game sounds, so here you go.